Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of The Cynical Marketers, episode 42. We are rolling right along. Last week, we talked about crazy things business owners say to marketing people. And this week, we're going to flip it and we're going to talk about crazy things agencies do. And really, it's what agencies promise. Because we
Yeah.
have watched this and we have our agency that we've always tried to be super honest. And we're always like, well, trying to tell people marketing is hard, it takes time, doesn't seem to lead to a lot of clients. And you look around at all these other websites and people who do what we do, and you're like, man, they make such outrageous claims. No, there's no way that that's true. So
Right.
we're going to talk about that a little bit this week, the craziness of agency promises and why. Because I'm going to put that back on the business owners too. It's your fault, business owners, still, why these
Yeah.
things happen. But,
I don't disagree, Mike.
uh,
It's wild. I mean, I think several months ago, we saw an agency promise like 3,000 leads, 3,000 qualified leads through their program to someone within 30 days, right? And we were just kind of like that just, that is insane. How do you even, what's your process for qualifying these leads and things like that? And we've worked on the client
right.
side for so long, but I worked on the agency side as well, and have sat in meetings and have heard people say completely ridiculous things that I knew weren't feasible just to get the client, right? So yeah, this is kind of a wild west of agencies. I don't really, we hear this. It's almost like now a staple statement. We can 10x your sales. We can 10x your growth. We can 10x your lead gen. And thank you, Grant Cardone, for making that popular.
Yeah. Guaranteed top spot on Google search,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. It's wild. And it's easy to hype somebody up who doesn't know anything about these things. We also, just I think the 10X, Mike, would probably be like one of the things when I see anything that says 10X, we can 10X your sales, we can 10X your growth, we can put you in the top 5, search results on Google and whatnot. I always go, okay, you have no idea what you're doing. You are there to get this
Yeah.
client, to make a quick buck off of them for the first couple of months that they sign. When they realize you're not bringing anything to the table, they're going to fire you, but you've made 3 months worth of your revenue, and that's all you care about.
Right.
You are not there to be a partner to the client, to that business.
Your
You're
lead
just
funnel
there to
is
do a fast
you
turn.
got your lead funnel dialed in and your ads are dialed in and slick and look great with great promises. So you're generating enough leads. It's fine. That most of those agencies, and
Yeah.
that's the thing, business owners, because all you guys, again, this is your fault because these are the only people you guys will talk to. You are looking for the biggest promises. You want to be sold the dream, of course. But those agencies who do that stuff know they're going to churn and burn their client base. But as long as they're getting enough leads, it's okay. So we'll sign on 4 new clients this month. They'll say, and hopefully we're going to keep them for 3 months, maybe 6 months. And then we're going to
Yeah.
lose 3 of them. But maybe we'll keep the 4th because we showed enough to the 4th that they're like,
Right.
all right, I don't want to go through this search again. So we'll just stay with you. I mean, that seems to be the easier thing, So that's what a lot of these agencies are hoping for. And they know they're going to churn people, but they'll just replace you. And then we get into an arms race with agencies of 10x enough now. And you got a business owner out there who's like, I don't know, like you guys say 10x, but this guy over here, he's saying 20. I think we're going to go with him because they're going to do more than you. Why can't you say 20? I mean, I understand. You guys must not be very good. You don't believe in what you're doing if you don't offer this guarantee. You're like, no, we don't do that because there's no way to know. There's too many variables. And your business might actually suck. We don't know that. You might be terrible with customers, and I have no way of knowing. What if we, provide you all these leads and then nothing closes? You're still going to blame us. You're still going to blame the marketing people.
Of course.
There's not a salesperson who has been born in the history of humanity who has ever thought missing a sales goal was their fault.
Correct.
Not a single salesperson ever.
Yep.
It's always
that is
marketing's
absolutely
fault.
true, though.
Bad
It's wild
leads.
to me.
Leads are bad.
Yeah. It's wild to me because, we've been on the business side, on the client side. We've interviewed a ton of marketing agencies. We've worked with agencies. We know exactly how agencies work. Agencies will tell you pretty much anything that they believe you need to hear to sign on with them. I most recently worked with an agency that was like, oh, when you sign with us, we're an all comprehensive e-com solution. So you get support for Shopify, you get an account manager, you get tech support for Shopify. Like, we have web developers who are doing new things on the platform for customization all the time. You get a CRO team, you get a retention team, you get an ads manager. Sure, for a percentage of your revenue, by the way, that was the model. And so it wasn't like a flat fee. And a lot of agencies do this. What you don't get is all those things. Don't ever believe that there is going to be 7 or 8 people on the agency side all dedicated to your account. These people probably have 8 or 10 other clients, at least. In some bigger agencies, maybe if you're a bigger brand that is making, millions and well into, like 10 plus million in sales, you might get more support. But agency models are designed to present to you that you're getting all these resources that you currently don't have. What they don't tell you is that they have 30 other clients, and those that are bigger than you will get priority in any task assigned. So if you think that you're getting a dedicated person for ads and you're getting dedicated person for retention, you are so wrong. Most of the time, all those roles that are shown to you as dedicated people are outsourced to people at Upwork. And I'm not even like,
Yeah, right.
we had 3 client-facing retention managers is what our title was. And we had 6 other people working in the background, setting up emails, testing, doing the QA. Like, and those people were all Upwork people. And so a lot of the times, like, I managed accounts, I was a brand manager and I was a retention manager. I put forth most of my attention on the clients that were big clients for the company that made more revenue. Smaller clients were handed off to people in the background, and they did the work, and I had to keep my fingers crossed that they were going to do a good job, because if they didn't, that was my butt on the line on an agency side. And it was you never as a client get what you are promised. If you genuinely believe that, you don't know how agencies work, and I've been on the client side too. I've been spent most of my career on the client side. Agencies will come in and tell you anything. They will literally come and tell you anything. I know when we worked at Grunt Style, the agency we had at the time was making a play for my job. Every single time they would show up, they would try to convince my leadership, you and others included, that my job wasn't needed. That could just be handed over to an agency for a lower fee. So imagine how excited I was to work with that agency. Right. So, like, you have to, as a business owner, consider these things and consider who you're bringing in. When people are telling you, I'm 10xing your sales, how? Ask questions. Don't just believe that for face value. It drives me nuts when people are like, oh, but they're going to 10x our revenue. How's your profit going to look at the end of that 10xing of that revenue? Drives me crazy.
And what people don't know, like you said, especially if you're the smaller business signing with an agency, there's not people sitting around at that agency doing nothing so that when a new client comes on, now we just assign this to you. Everybody is utilized at an agency. And if they lose clients and there's people who are underutilized, they get laid off. Agencies don't just have money sitting around to have people on staff who don't have a full client list. So they'll lay people off and then overload others, right? But then when they sign a new client, that part of that onboarding process is I've got to go to Upwork and find somebody in a third world country for $5 an hour who's now going to be your account rep. They're going to hire that.
Right.
And they're charging you professional rates for all these services we say we provide in this agency. But really what I just did was hired somebody, again, from a third world country for $5 an hour. That's what I'm paying them. Right. You're paying me premium and I'm making that arbitrage. That's the agency model, is the arbitrage, the difference between what they're going to pay those cheap employees versus what I charge you. And they have the front facing thing that looks great. and it's
Yeah.
typical too. The SaaS world does this too. SaaS sales, SaaS ever actually lived up to the promises of the salespeople, every tool out there would just be killer and a knockout, but they never do. Salespeople
Right.
again will say whatever they have to say to sell a product. So
Yeah.
it's funny. And again, and this is where you get business owners who are like, agencies always overpromise and underdeliver. Like, yeah, most of them do.
But you
That is
buy into
true.
the
Because those,
overpromise.
again, those are the only
Yeah.
people you're willing to talk to.
Right.
You're
And
not
this is
talking to
the thing,
anyone
though. It's
else.
a sales technique. It's a sales technique. Let's be honest. It's a sales technique, And so, of course, we're going to overpromise on an agency side. Like when I worked for Noggin, that is literally all we did all the time, And like our sales team would make outrageous claims of things that we could do where our dev team and our marketing team was not at all equipped to handle, even if they were equipped to handle the tasks, not in the time frame given, because the sales team would tell the client anything that they wanted to hear so that they would sign the client. But then when it came to execution, and then you got to get on the dev schedule, you got to get on the brand manager's schedule of
Yeah.
revamping everything, the creatives, the designs. It is never as easy as it seems. And here's the thing, though. We're not saying don't work with agencies. I don't think that's the overall message.
Well, no.
It's the ask
Yeah, no,
questions.
we're an agency. We would like you to work with us.
We're an agency. The thing is that drives us nuts is when we get on a call with a client and they say things like, well, the last marketing agency we worked with said this and this and this. And we are like, that would have never happened. Look at your business model. Look at where you are right now. There's things that we say to people that they don't want to hear. And we always say marketing is hard and it takes time and it's going to take, months to see results of these like everyday actions that are going to add up, and a couple months down the road, you're going to see results. Well, I don't want to wait a couple months. I want to see results within 30 days,
Yeah.
and then it's like, okay, well, you're not going, well, you're, the biggest thing, Mike, that drives me nuts is the SEO stuff, right? So I'm not an SEO expert. I don't claim to be one. SEO folks, sorry to pick on you, but a lot of you will tell clients like, oh, I will drive all this traffic to your website. Great. How qualified is that traffic? Because I can send 1 million people to your site that don't give a crap about what you're doing or what you're selling.
Right.
That traffic isn't going to
And that's
do
what they
anything.
do. SEOs on social media, they show screenshots, and then it's always quick camera, so you can't really look at it. But they show screenshots with just traffic up, and like, look at this traffic we drove, and like, that was all SEO.
Yeah.
None of that. Like, what is that traffic? Can we actually take a look at that, please? Like, where was it going? Where did it come from? What did it do? Right. But then a business owner who doesn't really know that, like, oh my gosh, look at that. Look at that traffic. On the SEO one specifically, I always think it's funny because in the last couple of years, we've done a lot more work. We've shifted our focus as a brand to try to be more local with businesses because we believe in personal connection more and authenticity. And that's on the content side. We like that, right? So I love the local SEOs, and we're in the Chicago area. So they're like, oh, we can get you to the top 2 spots. You're like, how you gonna do that? This is Chicago. Okay, so you're going to tell this attorney, this brand new attorney who's going to start a website, there's 400 million attorneys in the Chicagoland area. Every single one of them has been doing SEO for 50 years,
Right.
And they've had you, the same guy, work with that guy over there, I just love it when they make all those promises, And I know, like when we talk to people and like we said, hey, we're an agency. We want to work with people. And it's just us. Not and I are the two of us. So we don't do that. We don't hire out. That's why we stay small.
Yeah.
Because we do the work. But, when we meet with people, we're like, well, we do not make promises about results or returns. And I think what the primary function of agencies is to help provide you with a solid strategy. And a lot of businesses, that's where it starts. And they miss this sometimes because they're trying to be too broad. So we help narrow down and really look at your audiences and what's the messaging, how do we position this, right? And then you have this content strategy, and then all of the things that we do on the attraction side, the acquisition side, conversion and retention,
Yeah.
where we say, hey, we're going to start doing these things. And that's really what it's mostly about on the agency side, is we're going to help systematize this process for you so that it maintains a consistent message over a long period of time.
Yep.
And then let's see, we may need to change message. We don't know that this one is going to be the one that hits. We're going to tweak. We're going to make changes. We're going to look at things. But it's really about being consistent over a long period of time. And that's really what an agency's role is to help you do. Because most of the businesses out there fail at that part. Consistency in the execution, because that stuff's hard to do, and you're a small business. You don't have time to do all that stuff.
Yeah.
So that's what I really think. And that's what I tell people. And we've told people our role really is, because I don't know, you have a lot of competitors. And if we work in a Chicagoland area and you're doing X thing, there's lots of people out there. I'm sure there's people out spending you on Google ads. So what do you think we're going to do? How are we going to beat, I'm sure there's a whale in your business sector who spends all the money on Google, on Meta, you know? So what do you think is going to happen where you're like, well, we want to double revenue? Like, okay, well, you want to double revenue. That's great. So that's how many more customers? What does it cost you to acquire a customer today?
Nobody knows.
Then that's what it's going to cost you. This is the increase in activity and investment that you're going to have to do. You're not going to acquire double the customers at the same output level.
Yeah.
Your output level that you're at right now has got you the results you're at today. If you want more, something has to change somewhere.
Right.
You need a new audience and a new message for those people. You need to increase investment. You need to be seen by more people. Something has to change. It doesn't just happen, but so many business owners are like, well, we're going to start posting on our blog and watch.
Well, or we hired an agency, so now we're going to triple our business, And we've seen a retention agency that does this all the time, where they're like you said, Mike, they'll flash a thing on the screen and they'll be like, look, we made this client like $1.2 million. And then you look closer, you pause, or you take a screenshot, and an AOV is like $36,000. And you're like, what the hell are you selling for $36,000? What is it that you just sold where the AOV is $36,000? Like, who is this client? Because that, by the way, is not your average small business. There is not a single business that I can think of that I have worked for or with in my last 25 years of my career where an average AOV was $36,000. So of course, whatever this business is, whatever your sales are for the week, it makes sense that they would add up to like $1 million plus or $1 million plus, because your damn AOV is like a car. Like maybe this is a car, like maybe they are selling cars or luxury items, watches,
maybe. If you did
all
that
of
in
those,
your email, and all of a sudden that
things.
converted people, your email converted people to decide, now I'm going to make a 36K purchase. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, what is this business, And so
and
when people look at numbers,
too, right? I love those email guys. And that one you're talking about, he's saying, look at all this revenue we generated. And you're like, well, is that healthy? Like, are they acquiring new customers?
Well,
I love to see the retention side and the lifetime value increasing when you're working with your current list. But if you're not adding to that list and growing and attracting new people, you're slowly dying, actually,
Right. Well, and my whole thing is, it's like,
Again,
if you're a small business or you're a service-based business, like an accounting firm or a lawyer or consulting or whatever it is that you do, small electrician somewhere, you're not going to see those numbers. And even if you're in retail, just because I made $1 million for another client in an email campaign doesn't mean I can replicate that over and over for you, because those are not the same businesses. You guys as business owners need to start asking some qualifying questions. Better yet, talk to clients, ask for references, for the love of God. This is what I don't understand. I've never understood this. Nobody ever asks for references. The agency that I worked with 3 years ago, for the last, 3 years prior to this year, would always say like, oh, we worked with such big brands like Kenneth Cole. Well, Kenneth Cole as a business in 2020 shut down all their brick and mortar stores. And Kenneth Cole as a business exists and profits mostly out of selling in other retailers, like Nordstrom's and Macy's and Marshall's and TJ Maxx. You need to understand you're not Kenneth Cole. Kenneth Cole has been in business for 40 or 30 plus years. I don't even know how long, You are not that business. Just because something can be done for a brand name doesn't mean it can be replicated for your business. It always drives me nuts. Like when people are like, oh, I want to see 30, 40% growth year over year. What? Those are not great that you're that ambitious, but a marketing agency won't just come in
Right.
and make that
And
happen
it's,
for
but,
you know? And
I try to talk
if
to
they
the business
do, they're
owners about
using
this.
some shady tactics to do it, you know?
Probably. But you try to talk to business owners, right? Like, again, we're in the Chicago area. So most of the people we work with, there's lots of those kinds of people, attorneys or, a
Yeah.
service-based business. The Small Business Administration says 81% of all businesses in the US are a small service-based business with 17 or fewer employees. So that's
Yeah.
mostly what we are out here doing. So you're not
Yeah.
reinventing something new, right? There's not a new market being created for this thing that you're doing. So for you to grow customers, really, you are likely having to take them from someone else. So how are you
Yeah.
doing that? Like, well, how do you think you're going to all
Yeah.
of a sudden
How are
double your
you?
revenue? You know,
Yeah.
you can grow incrementally and you can improve on things, improve your messaging, get seen by more people, build trust and authority, and over time grow. But an instant thing is not just going to happen just because you posted 2 funny dance videos on TikTok. You're not all of a sudden,
TikTok
you
that
know,
went viral over 1 million views and got 0
2
clients.
million.
This is what people don't understand. Like none of that actually translates to revenue. So people can make you quote unquote viral social content because, oh, hey, by the way, business owners, here's a fun fact for you. And if you don't believe us, go on Reddit and hear it from other people who work with agencies actively at this moment. Some agencies, not all, will go ahead and, purchase your likes, your shares, your engagement, your clicks on an ad. If they're paid by impression, don't ever pay anybody by impression, by the way. Um, there's a
Right.
lot of stuff happening behind the scenes that is very unethical, that is making you think that things are happening that are not. The only way if something is truly working is what is your revenue, trajectory couple months in after working with an agency. Like that's it. Like I can,
Are you seeing more
if
are you seeing
there are
more of the
agencies
activity that
out there
leads
who are
to your
buying,
revenue?
right? Like there are
You
agencies
know?
out there that are buying your engagement on social so that they can tell you that they made your video go viral. And if you don't believe us, go look it up. Also look up these bot farms where you can actually buy followers and buy clicks and buy shares. That none of them will lead to business because these are people that are not qualified leads in any capacity. But you can buy that virality and it literally costs like dollars. It's not really even that expensive. So if that's all you're going off of and you're not seeing anything happening with your revenue, that's why. So marketing is hard and it takes time. And if done ethically and taking care of your business at every step of the way, you will see that growth, but you need to give it time. I think that's what business owners
Takes.
don't get. We're looking at you, business
And that's
owners.
what, like, for us, it's about we're trying to have a relationship. We don't want to be short
Right.
term with people. One of my clients I've been with for almost 3 years now, had
We've
another
been with
one for
all of our
4.
clients for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been with a lot
Long
of our
time.
clients for a long time. And some of the new ones too, we are very, very upfront. And we say things. I mean, we've even turned clients down where we're like, we're not the right fit for you. We cannot
Mhm.
make happen what you think is going to happen in 3 months. So yeah, I just think like
I'd love to take
business
your
owners,
money, but
be
I don't want
cautious of
that.
these things.
But I don't want that conversation that I know is going to happen in 2 months where you're just screaming at me.
No, and I don't want you going out online and telling people how much we suck because,
Yeah.
we overpromised and couldn't deliver and we knew we couldn't deliver on something. Like we would never do that. So,
Yeah.
do your due diligence when hiring a marketing agency.
We've
Nobody
and
can
look, we'll be
10x anything for
upfront.
you.
We've had I think we took a couple of clients that we mismatched on, that we took a shot
Right.
on. Like we took one in the cannabis industry, and I'm
Right.
like, I don't know. I personally don't know anything about that business, but I'm like, I don't know. It seems like the fundamentals of it seem to be similar to other, consumer product type thing. And I don't know, it just felt we were off on that one, and that one
Yeah.
didn't work out.
And
And
we
we were
will
wrong.
that's
And
another
when they're like, we're
that's
going to
another
pause,
thing
we're like, yep,
too.
good idea.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah.
That's another thing though too, and we've talked about this in another podcast, but if you're a business and you're hiring an agency, consider who in your business right now is doing the role you're asking your agency to come and fill in. Like, consider that and consider what feathers that's going to ruffle. But that's a whole different
Right.
conversation, which we've already had.
There was a problem too in that. I thought we were a mismatch on the industry, but then there was an internal political problem that
There was also an internal thing, right?
we walked
So
into and weren't aware of, but
yeah.
yeah,
And I just
that'll
think, but
happen.
I just think that, like, if you are a small business, and we've both run small businesses outside of running a marketing agency or doing marketing, we've both had businesses. You had an events business and, in a retail, like assisting, retail stuff like production and all of that. I ran a print business. We've ran businesses outside of marketing. We know how easy it is to, how awesome it would have been for somebody to be like, oh my God, I can totally 10X that for you. Like, yes, please. I want my business to grow, but really do your due diligence, small business owners. If somebody is promising you something that seems insane, it is, don't buy into the hype. Do your due diligence. Anytime somebody tells you 10X anything, run, just run.
And when I have a business owner tell me the last 3 agencies we had, I'm like, that's kind of a red flag. Because what do you mean the last 3? Like, more than once you got burned? Like, either you can't make a good decision, or you're just fumbling around to hopefully hit on the dream. And you're like, I don't know. I bet this is going to be a miserable. I don't want to be number 4. Your last 3, I'm like, nah. It's like you're on a date and you're like, yeah, my last 6 boyfriends were blah, blah, blah. You're like, you're what now? Like, you seem crazy.
Right. Like, maybe it's you.
I don't know.
But yeah, just
I've gotten to an
be
age
careful.
where I'm trying to avoid crazy in all areas. So I also don't want crazy
Same.
clients, because I just don't want that anymore.
And we don't want
I'm at
difficult
an age now
relationships.
where
That's the thing. I think we don't want difficult working relationships. Like, we have so much experience and we
don't have the
bring
energy
so
for
much
that.
to the table that if you don't, as a business owner, if that's something that you don't value and you don't find valuable and you want fast, cheap, and easy, by all means, go someplace else. We're not here to be like a fast food of agencies. We're not Upwork. We're not here to do things super cheap for you. And then, then we have a difficult, like Mike, like you said, difficult conversations that lead to very, kind of awful state of things. I don't have the brain capacity to deal with drama. We know what we're capable of doing. Businesses, you gotta know when somebody is overpromising you. And if you buy into it and if you don't ask questions, if you just believe things at face value, you got to rethink how you're treating your business. That's really on you. That's my take, but
there we go.
My cynical take.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I say everybody, 5 of you.
Lance.
Matt-ish. I don't know, Matt. We haven't heard from you in a bit. So
yeah.
I don't know. I know you got a new job. You got fancy new jobs. Maybe you're too busy for our podcast. So I don't know. So
no pressure, Matt.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in.
All right, guys. Thank you.
We'll be back again next week. Thanks again, everyone. We'll see you.